Self-Destruct sequence activated.
Yeah, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Self-Destruct sequence. I'm Ronkley.
And I'm Morphod, live in Technicolor.
Oh, God.
Thank you for joining us.
Oh, my eyes.
Yes. And as you can see, we've also invited someone along from the Peanut Gallery.
Oh, God.
Folks,
What have we done?
Jedi Luke, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hey guys, Jedi Luke here. For those of you who've never heard of me before, I play a little game from 1995 called Descent, and I enjoy beating the crap out of Morphod.
It's August 13th, and Jedi Luke still sucks at Descent. This is episode 30 of the Self-Destruct Sequence podcast. Thank you very much for joining us.
And, of course, our Master of Ceremonies from last weekend's Cajun Country Descent Land 2, Jedi Luke. Thanks for joining us today.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
So how was it? I'm very upset that I couldn't make it because if I play Descent right now for more than 15 minutes, my shoulder just goes crazy.
Well, I have to admit, we cried for the first 20 minutes because you weren't there. But other than that, when we realized, we did have candles going. When we realized that Cyrus wasn't going to make it, though, we all got
that's a
much
big
happier.
party. Yeah, that's a big
Yeah,
party.
we had a good time.
Thank the Lord.
I think he was out getting ice cream or something.
Yeah, I think he's still getting it.
Maybe. Who knows?
I don't know. Is it sea salt caramel, or is it only that way after he cries into it?
He's a little salty, so yeah, you probably got it right.
All right, so just give us an outline of how it went. What activities went on, and so on and so forth.
Yeah,
and who attended, and all that.
Yeah, so we actually had quite a few people that were planning to show up that weren't able to make it last second. Unfortunately, the B brothers, that's Behemoth, Bahamut, and Bird Doggy, were not able to attend. That's unfortunate since they live so far away.
Oh God, yeah,
and weren't able to make it.
It's like all the way across the
state.
An hour. My God.
Yeah, and we had Lady Silver also not able to attend the last second, and Toby Cat also unfortunately had a situation he had to attend to and was unable to make it. But those of us that did come, we had a good time. I even collected some statements from each of the pilots that were able to attend. I'd be happy to read them. They're fairly brief.
Yeah, this sounds like it could be fun.
All right, so from Dracona, let's see. These are my best friends, and we had a good time. That about sums it up. Actually, she does go on a little further than that.
Knowing
Dracona,
knowing Dracona,
a little wordier than that. She said, Mark is a beast. That's true. Jedi can't be intimidated. I'm not entirely myself, she said. Well, that's true. She's playing for two. Tom is cool. B2 is totally one of us. I'll have to agree with that. It was neat to meet Blarget. Jedi and Mark played a ton on the record, which is really rare, and it was clear that those games were extremely taxing for both of them. Just as clear that the two of them really do belong in their own tier. That was a privilege to watch. The spirit of share the knowledge is alive and well, and if you show up and want to learn, we'll teach you a lot. That was pretty cool, too. That's Drax. So we got Marky Mark. He says, it was one of the greatest honors and pleasures to be part of this year's CCDL for many reasons, but I'll just highlight a few. The games, of course, were amazing. The competition was stiff and of the highest level and caliber in the history of the game, but that wasn't the major draw. That's not what made this land so amazingly epic. This land was all about friendship that no one could have ever imagined a game such as Descent could possibly have fostered between groups of individuals from all walks of life. The people at the land were by far the best part. One of the things I really enjoy about this time of life and this time in Descent's life is the people of the friendships grown from this game. Friendships that if the game were to never be played again from this moment on, those friendships would last on and we would continue to get together even without a game as the reason. There were quite a few people in the Descent family that were missing and missed, except for Cyrus. But you'll have that with any family.
Last time I checked, he
that's
was
in there.
never actually adopted.
Yeah, that's really in there. Wink, wink. That, however, in no way detracted from the amazing time that was CCDL. Thanks so much, David Martin and his wife, for hosting and being such amazing hosts, people, and most of all, friends. Much love to you all. Blargets is short and sweet. Everyone was so nice. Dracona pitching in on all the Descent merchandise was really cool, and just being
Oh.
at a Descent land for the first time and meeting you guys was one of the best experiences so far. Watching Jedi fly in real life was a treat as well. Oh, well, thanks, Blarget.
Before
Dracona
you move on,
made
talk
chocolates.
about that.
Yeah, so she used her
Merchandise.
3D printer to create some molds to make chocolate candies in different shapes from Descent, orbs and pyros, etc., and guns and whatnot. And also made everyone some weaponry from it, and brought stickers again, like we had at the Denver land. So that was a real big hit. Everyone enjoyed all the little trinkets and whatnot.
Yeah, that's so cool.
It was really cool. She had the little 3D pyros and whatnot. The chocolates were actually very tasty, and they looked really cool.
Yeah, I still got the stickers of the fusion cannon, the pyro, and the shield orb sitting on the front of my computer. I don't think those are ever going away.
I have the fusion cannon sticker on my computer, and if you tried to remove it, I think it would just be an exercise in frustration. But I wouldn't want to remove it anyway. So you're saying that you actually had the opportunity to literally eat a smart?
Yeah, mostly it was everyone else eating smarts. I did happen to consume a proxy or two, though, I'll have to admit.
Were they intentional, or did Lothar force feed them to you?
No, you know it was Lothar's fault that I had those. That's for sure. That I was really not expecting to have that rammed down my mouth, but it did happen. I didn't want to
No.
talk about it, but
Yeah, I think that the proxy chocolates should be like the chocolate-covered cherry cordials or something like that.
there
Anyway.
were some plastic proxies that were rather sharp. I believe Lothar had a disclaimer that people were not allowed to actually place those unwittingly on the seats of people's chairs, because that could
Oh,
have gone
dear.
wrong. Yeah, so no one was injured, thankfully.
Wow, this sounds like some serious business over there.
So,
Yeah.
so you see what happens when Cyrus doesn't show up is people actually get cool stuff.
Yes.
These
Yeah,
are all
cool
the things that we have to put away when he shows up because he's just going to abuse it. It's just, I don't know. We have more fun without him.
This is why we can't have nice things.
So true.
Just kidding.
I have two more statements, one from Lothar and one from B2AF, if time permits.
Certainly.
Lothar, so CCDL2 was a much smaller affair than any of us were expecting, with a lot of last-minute cancellations and only 6 pilots showing up. At least 2 of us were battling health issues that limited our playing time, not to mention fatigue due to flight delays in Houston's terrible airport. And the whole group
God.
played only 63 total ladder matches. On the surface, this would look like a disappointment, but LAN parties are much more than playing Descent. There was a lot of talking about Descent, observing other people, both using Jinx mode and watching their screen, watching demos on B2AF's big 42-inch screen that he plays on, which is crazy, and commenting on strategy and learning from each other. There were also a couple of Kung Fu movies. That was totally awesome. Some great Cajun meals provided by Jedi Luke's family. Thanks, Tanya. A grocery store trip filled with nutrition advice from Mark. A new level from Blarget that turned out pretty neat after a round of tweaks. Dracona's Descent-themed chocolate, and great friendship and camaraderie. And the Descent itself was glorious. Jedi and Mark in overtime, twice, was so intense that the observers had to take breaks afterwards. I got to observe their unique skill sets as they took turns courageously invading each other's homes and getting crushed. Jedi Luke turned around and challenged me to the only level I'd ever beaten him in, twice actually, putting a 543 game silver streak on the line, which will unfortunately likely get mentioned later, and then did it again and ended up taking the top silver spot the very hard way. Yes, he did. He beat me twice. Dracona played her heart out, putting up 16 plus in 6 different diamond matches, but never quite breaking through. B2AF and Blarget both proved to be surprisingly tough to keep down. I hope to see everyone again whenever we hold a LAN next year, and hopefully a few more people will make it out there too.
Awesome.
And the new guy, although it his second time attending the CCDL, the first time we didn't hardly know him and he was very quiet. This time around, he was much more involved. B2AF, who's really coming on strong lately. He says, I enjoyed the Descent land to the point where I want to make it a habit to make it to all the Descent lands in the future. Well, there probably aren't too many, but here's to hoping. The crew that made it to this year's Descent land was a friendly bunch. They made you feel like you're a friend right from the beginning. That's something to be said about the Descent community. Even though the people were friendly, they also have strong competitive spirits. It's probably talking about me. It's like, hey, you're a cool guy, gal, but I'm going to kick your then humiliate you with low scores while shouting bullsh Jedi Luke during matches.
Come down with a bit of a cold there,
Oh
sir.
no.
Yeah,
Should
clear
get
my
that
throat
looked
once in a while. I'm
Guys are
guilty for doing it, he says. I think we all are. The Descent models that Drac made were cool. I typically don't put stuff on my computers and tables at the house, but the Descent models are the exception. I have the 3D models on my center console. The Descent chocolate and stickers were a nice addition to the little things that make the Descent land worth going to. Oh, you can't forget about the Cajun food that was made for us. Priceless. What I can take away from this land was a better Descent 1v1 game. I think I improved over the last few days than over the past few months. That's because I was playing Jedi, Mark, Drac, and Lothar over and over. You're bound to get a little better by playing them consistently. Overall, I recommend going to these Descent lands for food, friendship, and descent.
Awesome. Yeah.
Marvelous.
Yeah, so to speak to B2AF's setup, he walks in with his own table, a server the size of a small child, like this huge computer tower, his own table, and a 42-inch plasma or LED whatever
man.
TV, and this weird little controller that he proved to be badass on. So it was quite the interesting setup, and we watched plenty of demos from his perspective and helped teach him the way of things.
I'm very interested to see how he develops as a pilot um, with that controller in particular, because you're talking about if this is a viable competitive scheme on a common, it's an Xbox controller, right?
It's an Xbox One Elite controller.
So the idea there is if he can do it and play it at a competitive level, then when Overload comes out, they have an accessible key configuration to look at if they're listening to what the Descent community is doing. When they start trying to figure out what's the best way to put this, support it to a console, they have a basis to work with.
Yeah, the rest of us attending the LAN gave our stamp of approval. He's definitely got mastery over that thing. We all gave it a shot. We all sucked tremendously with it, but he was very good. And we think that the only thing holding him back now is himself, to which he replied, "Thanks, Dad."
Nice. Oh, very good. But you said that there were 6 people there. Were there any I don't know, any tournament matches or anything like that, or was
No
it just
tournament matches, no team games, no anarchy that I remember.
all
It was
one-on-one?
all
Just a big
1v1
circle of kumbaya.
DCL matches.
Awesome.
Yep, I didn't punch anyone in the face. That's probably because Cyrus wasn't there. But I did predict that Mark was probably going to beat me 18-2. I was really hoping to get 1 win versus him. I got my 2. I don't think he got 18, but it felt like it.
Oof.
It was rough.
But yeah, it sounds like it was a really good time. I am not happy I missed it, but I couldn't. There's no way I could have made it and actually done anything serious because the last LAN I was at, I think I was playing to the point where my fingers hurt, and that was back when I was on all keyboard, and I can't do that now. That's at least until my shoulder recovers. But
You should try B2AF setup.
yeah, oh, man. I've actually tried a controller. I do have an Xbox One controller sitting over here, and I have tried using it, and it doesn't work very well for me. So maybe it's just that he's forced himself to learn it.
No doubt.
And that's how he's gotten so good with it. We've had other people, you remember last year at the Denver 20th anniversary LAN, I think it was Venom666 showed up with a controller, and honestly, I really felt the controller was holding him back. So it's good to see somebody actually succeeding with controller. Now, granted that his controller had way more buttons than Venom's did. Yeah, way more. It's got like 4 additional. They call them I don't know, not shoulder buttons, but they're like behind the controller.
Right. On the shoulder of it or whatever.
Yeah, so it's very interesting. It's good to see he's doing pretty good. Anything else you want to add about the LAN?
Not really. I mean, we had a great time. It was way more relaxed and more about hanging out, talking about new school versus old school and where we think Overload's going to go, and hoping that we'll have Overload lands and ladders and whatnot, and just the camaraderie. Watching a couple of kung fu movies, eating lots of good food. It was just a good time all around. Wish we could do it more often.
Yeah, absolutely. I know. This one I'm skipping is not because I'm done playing Descent, that's for sure. So I definitely hope there's going to be something more in the future, because I would definitely be interested in attending. Very cool. All right, so we're gonna move on. We got some very brief news about Descent Underground, and I'm just gonna briefly go over this because we talked about a lot of this on the last episode. Basically, everything that they had in the last build, or most of everything they had in the last build, they put in the new build. It's 2473 Crusoe, they're calling it. They put the survival mode and Sharon in there. They got the minor mayhem and Rama. They added the persistent lobby. One of the things that they didn't have last time, the map Mobius, pretty confusing to get around in. They've added a bunch of textures to make the navigation easier. So hopefully that'll help people out in that map. They got the new server regions going on where you can select NA versus EU. You get to select your default region, stuff like that. New awards and Steam achievements have gone up for kill streaks, mining, hauling, stuff like that. They have an end-of-game splash screen displaying who won, and it sounds like it's very similar to Blizzard's Overwatch. I don't know if you guys have seen Overwatch at all. At the very end of the game where it says victory or defeat, time slows down, and they've added that slow time effect to the game, which it's kind of a cool effect. I'll give them that, but it seems like they might be playing a bit too much Overwatch. And then there's some other various bug fixes, and one of the things that they mentioned outside of the build is that they've managed to link their web-based chat at DescendantStudios.com, their in-game chat lobbies. They have a general chat lobby, and their Discord chat all into one chat. I don't know how they did this, but it's if you type something in Discord, people in game can read it, or people on the website can read it.
That's a good avenue for trolls.
Yeah. Well, you have to be signed in. Yeah, they have moderators. Yeah, all kinds of things. So, and that does it for news. Haven't heard a whole lot. I think there was. I don't remember, and I couldn't find any information on it. But I recall there being a patch to the Summer Overload demo. But I don't know anything about it. No patch notes, nothing. I couldn't find it on the website. So hopefully if someone's got some more information, they can let us know, and we can cover that next time. So that pretty much does it for the news. The Descent Rangers, of course, today they had the co-op matches with Sirius, hosting those. That started at noon Pacific, 3 Eastern. They were playing, and I don't know if should I pronounce these. Krylidian Crusade and Conflict at Karen by, and these maps are both by Cruel, and of course those are all Ks too. So
that's very clever.
With a K, yes. and then that happened today, and then the team tournament wrapped up. The gold team ended up winning the tournament, getting 200 additional points in 2 games since we last covered them. They ended up with 597. Black was in second, 583, red in third with 563, and sadly, my team blue 513. I wish I could have played in that. Maybe things would have gone better. So, and then of course, I know they got a game night coming up. I unfortunately did not look this up, so I'm looking this up on the fly. And the next event is going to be August 20th, 3 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be hosted by Jaeger, and this is called WD1 Egg Hunt CTF. And it's basically 2v2 games in Wolf's Den with CTF. And the reason why it's called Egg Hunt, if you're familiar with Descent 3, Capture the Flag, they have like bases where you have to go get them. No, in Descent 2, the flag just shows up anywhere, and if you grab it and bring it to your base, you get 5 points. Kills are still worth 1 point. So it's kind of a different scoring system, definitely a different. I wouldn't really call it CTF. Egg Hunt's probably a better way of putting it. So that's going to be happening next week. And with that, Morpod.
Yes.
I gave you a lot of work in a very short amount of time, didn't I?
I need an extension.
All right.
I can try.
Let's
Okay,
see.
folks,
What do we got?
We have a lot of action thanks to the Cajun Country Descent land.
You know what we
200
don't
matches.
have? You know what we don't have?
What don't we have?
We don't have any gold versus gold.
What?
0 matches gold versus gold in 2 weeks.
Let me check this here. We got 33 diamond versus bronze, 36 bronze versus bronze. Silver managed to play themselves. No, there are no gold versus gold matches.
None.
Absolutely 0. We see a lot of action across tier as always, but the only people who like playing against themselves is bronze. 36 matches against themselves, and of course, a special exception for diamond versus diamond due to the land. 9 matches is a pretty huge contribution when you consider that there's only 2 people in diamond. So, but either way, we've got promotion challenges, we've got land parties, we've got historical rivalries. We've got people who are stealing trophies left and right. Let's get to the most active tier right now. It's bronze, and again, we gotta applaud them for keeping up the activity. Let's talk about Lee. Yeah, that guy. 29 matches in the last 2 weeks. He's played 14 of them against gold and diamond pilots. He's picked up a 3-8 record versus other bronze pilots, and he's got high games of 21-12 against Leto in scrimmage.
Okay.
Descent 2.
Well, hold on. That's 21-19.
Yeah, 21-19, and the other. And I'm mentioning this 2012 game in Octave Pro because I believe that Lee has picked up his first major wins here. I think he's only got 4 bronze wins total.
Correct.
So,
3 of them this week.
and he's also managed to pick up a domination against Leto 20-7 in Pillbox.
Ooh.
So,
nice.
But Lee is definitely embracing all of the descent levels, including the obscure, obnoxious ones. And by being unafraid to venture into these territories, he's building up some of the base skills that can come back into the traditional game.
Mhm.
So, moving forward, we have Leto 2 showing up to play 15 matches. He's 2-13 against bronze, but he's got 2 good wins here. He's got a 2016 game against Lee and a 2019. Is that 21-19 or
20-18?
2018 win against Lee, both in Bluebird, but 2016 was in Descent 2 Bluebird, which you don't see too often.
Oh, wow.
Yes. We have Apo showing up for 8 matches. He's 2-1 against bronze. He's picked up a good win in 2015 against Leto in Bluebird, and has also picked up a domination against Lee in
Leto.
Leto. Excuse me. I see. This is what happens when I have to rush my
Yeah.
reports. 20-9 in Hilbert. Phyrix has showed up for 2 matches this week. We don't get to see too much of him. He's in Europe. 1-1 versus bronze with a 20-17 high game against Lee in Neptune. We have SDF Jeff showing up for 6 matches. He's 5-1 against bronze these past 2 weeks, but he was able to play outside of his usual rivalry against PP Sky, and that included a 20-16 win against Phyrix in Mindtrix. PP Sky, the other of the New Zealand contingent, has played 7 matches this week. He's 2-5 against bronze, and he also has stepped outside the series. He was able to run into Lee for a 2016 win in the level Flea. And then, of course, every single time we've on the Self-Destruct Sequence podcast, we like to highlight what the Kiwis are doing over there. So let's take a look at what SDF Jeff and PP Sky have done in the last 2 weeks. SDF Jeff has picked up 4 more wins, including wins in Tetrafusion, Greenland, Swiss Cheese Sorrow, and Godspeed, which means that they're paying attention to the level list that other pilots are playing and ramming around in new and interesting spaces as well. Perhaps we ought to take a cue from them.
Swiss Cheese Sorrow. I've seen that come up a few times now. What kind of map is that?
That is a smaller level that was dedicated to DJCJR. It was built by Blarget 2, and it's kind of it's a central dogfighting space with wide I guess you can call them hallways or tunnels on the outside, but it's a short squat level. It's definitely a confrontational arrangement. Nothing really ratty makes itself evident. Not really sneaky, but still pillar play is involved. So, but it's a good rumble map. Would appeal to the likes of, say, Vaniac. So, close games there include that 2018 in Godspeed for SDF Jeff's win. And on the flip side, we have PP Sky picking up 1 win, 20-16 in, is that Neumann?
Newman. Just be Newman.
Well, either way, never heard of it. Have you?
No.
I think it's one of the ones that they made themselves. Because I remember the last time I played an SDF Jeff or PP Sky level. It was really bad arrangement called
No, it was
Monroe.
great. It was a great game. It was
Terrible.
Monroe X4.
It was Monroe.
Monroe 4942 X4. It was a great game.
Monroe X Hate against. Oh dear. All right, and that's what the Kiwis have been up to. We're going to move on to Skywarp, who's played 10 matches in the last 2 weeks. He's 8-0 against Bronze, but he's only played Leto 2. So close matches there include 21-19 overtime in Accelerated Dragon Descent 2 and 2015 in Bluebird. Also, both of them against Leto 2. We move on to Swarthy.
Oh, one thing I want to point out about Skywarp is he did get a silver threat.
Oh, he did? I didn't.
Down 7,
Yeah,
lost it 17-20 with one suicide against P-Funk in Vamped.
Ah, that's a good catch. Thank you very much.
That is a very good score against a challenging pilot.
That would be most upsetting that had that not been mentioned, because that is definitely worth talking about. So, well, where did I don't see that? Oh, I see it. It's blue text and scrolling too fast and blending with Swarthy. Okay. Anyway, so we see Swarthy here. He's played 12 matches. He's 3-2 against Bronze this week, and he's been poking at B2AF for trophies. We got a 20-16 match against B2AF and Umbriel for the Rat Trophy. 20-18 in UG, also against B2AF for the Fusion Trophy. And he's managed to pick up a domination, 20-4 against Lee in the level Lurk. But the real story for Swarthy this week is the Silver Promotion Challenge. I don't recall what event finally made it pop, but he's 2-4 versus Silver in the last
I could tell you exactly which one made it pop.
Oh, what happened there?
That would be our game of the week.
Oh, okay, all right.
Which is
Why don't we just go ahead and mention that right now? We've got a see here a 23-21 game against P-Funk with 8 suicides in Lurk, which is a strong level for P-Funk. That was a dark horse. Remember that the ladder algorithm does take into consideration those suicides, so that is a 31-29 game.
Indeed. And one thing I also want to point out with that is Swarthy's first silver dark horse. It is not his last.
Okie dokie, let's see here. What else? Oh, yeah, so we have to go through the promotion challenge. Outside of the promotion challenge, I see a 16-20 game against Vaniac, a threatening score in Mind Tricks, especially when you consider the type of numbers that Vaniac has been pushing on other pilots. Taking a look at the promo challenge, Swarthy has gotten scores of 2012 against Vaniac and Ascend, 20-16 with 3 suicides against Lady Silver in Mind Tricks, 17-20 against Lotharbot in Logic, which is an significant accomplishment. And I gotta ask a question, Ronkley.
Yes.
It says here that he is supposed to beat you 20-16 by
2014. Yeah, the ladder algorithm.
What on earth is going on there?
Gave me. I had to not lose by more than 6 to get an even score. I don't know why that was, but I made sure to make it a -7 and then some.
And that was a 16-20 with 1 suicide against Ronkley in Mind Tricks, and it's all down to P-Funk. The game that started it all was his 23-21 against P-Funk in Lurk. I think I would like to see a rematch in Lurk. I want to see it broadcast, and I want to be there to announce it. I think that would be a fun way to finish up that promotion challenge.
I don't know, an observatory episode, maybe?
No, well, that's the thing. I don't have the equipment to do that. We really do depend a lot on this fellow over here, Ronkley, who does a lot of technical work for the Self-Destruct Sequence podcast and organized the observatory all on his own. So, please, Ronkley, please.
Well, the chants of NISA are starting in chat right now.
Oh, jeez. Is it chance plural or chant singular from one person?
I must admit I joined in. I added my own little flavor to it.
Oh, jeez. Okay, and we're going to move on to...
God, please no, not level 1.
The one fella who really, really ought to get out of bronze. B2AF.
Oh, long overdue.
And has an enormous amount of activity thanks to the LAN party last weekend. That's 44 matches, which accounts for 22% of the activity on the ladder this last week.
Jeez.
Last 2 weeks. And he definitely abused being at the lane. He's got 17 matches against Diamond. So
That's a
going down the list,
lot.
he's picked up a
How
20
many did he win?
against
Oh,
Diamond.
burn.
No. I liked you better when you're in the chat and you're not dissing people when I'm going through it. All right. Is it
I
this is
wouldn't be
his
me if
moment,
I
not
didn't.
yours. So anyway, the
No,
audacity.
no. The burns are coming. Just
Shut
saying.
up.
The burns are coming.
Shut up.
Go ahead.
So some people on the high end of the ladder have been having interesting times, myself included. It seems like every single week I do this, it turns into a walk of shame for me because I got a report on me in third person. So let's talk about the man of the moment, B2AF. He's got a 10-2 record against Bronze. Of course, his 2 losses were for trophy matches in specialized levels against Swarthy, but he's been collecting a few trophies of his own. We got a 2018 game against Kaina and Flea. Kaina accepted the demotion down to Bronze earlier this week. 20-15 against Swarthy, also in Flea. And then for the Dogfight Trophy, a 24-22 overtime match against Swarthy and Dog Hell. For the Disorientation Trophy, 20-9 against Lee and Octave Pro. And for the X4 Trophy, you don't see that one tossed around very often, 20-4 against Lee in Logic X4. In addition to that, he's picked up 5 dominations against Blarget 2 and Flea in Black Rose, against Apo and Skunked, and against Lee and Octave Pro and Logic X4 for those very trophy matches that were mentioned. On top of that, he's got his own promotion challenge that he hasn't really had too much opportunity to whittle away at, with the exception of that 17-20 game in Mind Tricks against Lothar Bot. But other matches, what was it, the IO or the Fused game that was against Lady Silver that counted for the promotion
I want
challenge?
to say that's going
So
to be the fused match.
All right, so that's for the promotion challenge for B2AF, which has been going on for a while. It just haven't gotten the right people in the right places. Even though all the slots are signed up, just got to wait for the right opportunity for people to play each other. And not to mention, he was also at the LAN. There's only one other silver pilot there to really carry things along. But we have that 17-20 against Lothar Bot and Mind Tricks and 21-19 against Lady Silver and Fused. If you could tell me what that deficit is for Swarthy and B2AF, I appreciate it. B2AF is 2-10 against Silver this week. He's gotten other threatening scores against Lothar Bot, 15-20 in Lurk, and War Master, 16-20 in Flea, and has also picked up another Dark Horse, 20-16 against Lady Silver in IO.
Yes.
Yep.
B2AF +6 through 2 matches, getting all those 6 points off of Lady Silver. He was even with Lothar. And then Swarthy is +4 after picking up a +7. Lady Silver being canceled out with a -7 from me. His +4 comes from 5 from Lothar Bot, Vaniac taking away 1. So P-Funk has to hold him to 11 or less.
Looking forward to it. And with that, I also want to give a shout out to Blarget 2, who played 10 matches this week, and Kaina, who's played 3. And that'll wrap it up for Bronze. We're going to move on to Silver. We got just a couple brief notes here. We're going to say hello to P-Funk, who's played 10 matches, and of particular note that hasn't been mentioned yet would be the threatening score against Morphod, 18-20 with 4 suicides in Salute. P-Funk doing his P-Funk thing. I do believe that Salute is his home level. So, then we have Lady Silver playing 18 matches. Both P-Funk and Lady Silver not playing. There was only 2 Silver versus Silver matches played this week, so everything else was inter-tier. 2 threatening scores against Gold Pilots. That's 17-20 against Morphod in Mind Tricks, and 16-20 against Morph in Actorus at Tyranny level. And I have labeled here amusing a 14-20 with 11 suicides game against Jedi Luke in Crimson X2.
11?
11 suicides. From my understanding, the connection was just a little flaky. Then we have this funny-looking guy named Ronckley. He's showed up for play 1 match. In spite of his chronic shoulder injury, he managed to crank out 20-16 against Swarthy in Mind Tricks for that promotion challenge. Then we move on to Mr. Silver, but will he be silver for much longer? That's Vaniac, 21 matches. He's got a domination against Bronze Pilot Lee in Rumble. Against other silver pilots, he's 1-1, and that one win was 20-14 against Melvin in Salute. And against gold pilots, he's 3-3. That includes a threatening score against Morphoth, 15-20 in Actorus, and a trio of dark horses, starting with a 2016 against Morphoth in Lurk with 5 suicides, and then Morphoth imploded, 20-8 against Morphoth with 9 suicides in Salute.
I actually coined a term for that. If
What?
you beat somebody worse than 20-10 for a dark horse, that's called a dark horse domination.
So Vaniac is well, no. You
He's
see,
not the first to get it,
This,
but
no,
it's,
this
it
is this,
happened.
you see, we're going about this the wrong way. This was a 25-21 win against Morphoth and Lurk, and a 29-17 win against Morphoth and Salute. And rounds it out with a 20-11 win over Morphoth with 7 suicides in one of Morphoth's strongest levels, Audacity. And he has been an absolute thorn in my side. I think I've got it back under control, but it's only just give Vaniac another week playing Jedi Luke all the time, and he'll introduce a new wrinkle. So definitely very strong play from Vaniac, and golly, you're just waiting for the algorithm to kick over. It's just another example of someone who can't get a promotion challenge. Speaking of people who don't deserve promotion challenges, we have Melvin with 11 matches this week, 7 of them against Diamond. And he's got a 1-1 record against Silver, including a 28-18 game over Vaniac in Lurk. His promotion challenge, he's played 2 matches, both against Morphoth. Started things off with a 20-14 win with 8 suicides against Morph in Ascend, which, if you look at the past record, Morphoth has a much better record in Ascend.
That is surprising because
Melvin, and it was just it was hell. Like the only weapon he knows how to use is spread fire, and it ticks me off. It's like Cyrus with Vulcan.
Yeah, it's surprising because Ascend is not one of Melvin's stronger levels.
Right. So, needless to say, I felt a need to go back and try to fix that. And
boy, did you.
His second match was 13 in the promotion challenges, 13-20 against Morphoth in Take 2, and that leaves him at a -1.
You've done your
so
job.
Far. Well, no, I've fixed my mistake, not done my job.
You have him at a minus score. You've done your job.
So, remaining on that challenge, Dracona has dropped out, leaving a spot open, I believe, for Sirius. We also have what else? We've got Cyrus has signed up for a spot, and what's that last spot taken by?
Not on the page.
So
that last spot taken up by. I don't know. Who is that?
Hold on here.
Do you know who this is, Jedi?
Who is this?
Demos?
No,
I'm going to look.
Who is
Demos? Demos.
Demos?
I don't recognize.
Wasn't he eaten by a beard a long time ago? There was something in the.
I do remember something about that.
There was
His
something
beard got
in
loose
the
from the
Washington
zoo or
State
something, and he
News
was
or something.
attacked.
Oh my God!
Oh, it was a tragedy.
Melvin
really.
has to play a beard.
I think it's there just for show. I doubt it's going to happen.
Don't know what to think there, but regardless, Melvin has gotten the gold promotion challenge, and at a time when gold needs more active players, seeing Melvin there, as far as the health of the ladder, thumbs up. As far as wanting to see him in gold, go pound sand. And we move on. We move on to Lothar Bot, who's played 22 matches in the last 2 weeks, including a bronze domination 20-4 against Blarga in the level CLB, and an amusing pair of dark horses. Jedi Luke has approached Lothar Bot to play him in Octave Pro not once but twice at the Cajun Country Descent Land. And
it is a trap.
He won. Lothar Bot won 20-12 and 20-16 on those occasions. I have played Lothar Bot in Octave Pro, and I don't remember getting more than 12 myself, given that I'm a type of player that you think I could flop around in there pretty easy. No, it is not a place for. It's not a place for nice people, as Dracona likes to say about like Ascend X4. I would say Lotharbot in Octave Pro is not a place for nice people.
Yes, and a few additional notes about that match.
What's up?
First of all, this is only the third Dark Horse between two tiers. We all know what the first was, and then the second one was Bird Dog and one of his brothers. I want to say Bahamut, but I'm not sure. And this ends, as we mentioned before, the silver streak. We brought this up a couple times. 543 games. Now, I also want to point out the 2 silver games around that, both against Lotharbot, were wins 20-5 and 20-6. So getting these rare wins, extremely rare wins, is just the level of domination to be able to win 543 games in a row against a tier like that. It just hasn't happened before. Mark is second, and he's not even halfway there. That's how big that number is. So
that sounds like a significant accomplishment to be able to tear down that number, and to demonstrate that it was sticky too when Jedi Luke challenged him again. So congratulations to Lotharbot for a very rare medal indeed. And that wraps it up for silver. Just wanted to do a shout out to War Master, who poked his head in the last 2 weeks and played 1 match. We move on to gold, and as mentioned before, there's no gold versus gold matches in the last 2 weeks. We have Zero and Sirius showing up for 1 and 3 matches respectively. Then the rest of the activity was Morphod and Dracona, and most of Dracona's activity was at the LAN. Morphod played 34 matches and did nothing of note other than be terrible, and managed to pick up a domination against the Silver Pilot, 20-4 against Lady Silver in Salute. Dracona has played 27 matches in the last 2 weeks and has a number.
Dracona has played 13 and a half matches, because you got to give half of them to the Unborn Child, right?
Wow. Wah, wah, wah.
You
So
see,
she's sharing the games, training early. You know how it goes.
Hey, you choke on a bagel.
Anyway, go.
27 matches played by the Dracona unit. With notable scores against Diamond Pilots to mention on this list, but did not manage to pick up a win against a Diamond Pilot at the LAN. But we do have to acknowledge significant accomplishments. 16-20 against Jedi Luke in Logic X4. Overtime, 20-22 against Jedi Luke in Logic X2. 17-20 in Ascend X4, 17-20 in Logic X2, and 17-20 in Wrath X4, all also against Jedi Luke, and a 16-20 game against Mark 39-2 in Logic. So, congratulations for an excellent showing. Didn't get the win, but did something that very few gold pilots can do, which is get high teens and competitive scores against Diamond Pilots. That's something I certainly can't do, and we all know that I don't deserve to be gold. So, and then we move on to some very long lists indeed.
Oh.
All right, I did not put this into summary format. I'm just reading the raw data here because we had to get the show started. But
69 games.
69 games. Thank you for adding that up. This is Jedi Luke. 69 games. 19 against gold. 19-2 against silver. The two were previously mentioned. 20-0 against bronze, and 2-7 against diamond. The list of dominations, Ronkley.
Jeez.
Against bronze, you have to hold them to 0. And that's 20-0. 20-0 against Lee with 1 suicide in Logic X4, domination. 20-0 against Lee with 4 suicides in Logic X2, domination. 20-0 against B2AF, 2 suicides in Flea, domination. 20-0 against Lee, 2 suicides against Lee and Black Rose.
Bro.
Domination. 20 to -1 against Lee with 4
Oh,
suicides
God.
in Athena X2. Domination. 20 to 0 with 7 suicides in Mega Pillbox X4. Domination. 20 to -1.
Did you let him fire a mega missile?
No.
20 to
Spawn kill,
-1.
spawn kill.
Like, you know that Lee didn't have a chance to fire a mega missile because Lee had no suicides. At least I'm guessing from I don't have the full report here, but and then 20 to -1 against Lee with 2 suicides and Ascend X4 domination. Is that enough domination for you? Well, guess what? We're shifting gears. We're in silver now. We got 20 to 5 against Maniac with 0 suicides. Logic X4 domination. 20 to 3 against Lady Silver. 2 suicides in Wrath X4 domination. 20 to 4 against Lady Silver with 13 suicides in Crimson X2. That's the revenge match for the 11 suicide game before. Domination. 20 to 4 against Maniac with 1 suicide in Salute X2 domination. 20 to 5 against Lothar Mountain for suicides in Logic. Say it.
Domination.
Domination. Oh, but that's not enough. We gotta go to gold, don't we?
Oh.
Gotta go to gold. That's it. Okay, they're saying domination a lot. Just gotta get revved up.
Now you get to say Morphot a lot.
Let's hear it.
20 to 8 against Morphod with 9 suicides in D1 Lurk X2 domination. 20 to 10 against Sirius with 5 suicides in Logic X2 domination. 27 against Dracona with 2 suicides in Ascend X4 domination. 28. 20 to 8 against Morph with 5 suicides in Logic domination. And 20 to 4 against Morph with 2 suicides in Mindtrix X4 domination. Dramamine. Anyhow, and the 2 diamond wins. 20 to 12 against Mark 39-2 with 3 suicides in Wrath X4, and 20 to 13 against Mark 39-2 with 9 suicides in Logic X2. What a list to go through. I'm a little winded. I think we'll stop the show there.
No, there's one more.
There's one more.
Yes,
One
please.
more.
That's a lot of dominations, too. Okay, so we have Mark 39-2, who's sitting at
35 games.
It's 35 games, 7-2 against Diamond, and undefeated everywhere else. Against Bronze, we've got 20 to 0 against Blarget, 2 suicides in CLB domination. 20 to 0 against Blarget, 2 with 1 suicide in Logic domination. On to Silver, shifting gears. 20 to 2 against Melvin, 4 suicides in Ascend domination. 25 against Lothar Bot with 1 suicide, Ascend domination. And then on to Gold, 20 to 10 against Dracona with 6 suicides, Mind Tricks domination. 20 to 10 against Dracona again in Mind Tricks, but this time only 5 suicides, domination, a little bit smaller. And in Diamond, this is very impressive. The same mark for Gold, you have to hold it, the other opponent to 10 or less. 20 to 9 against Jedi Luke with 5 suicides in Ascend X2 domination, and 20 to 9 against Jedi Luke, no suicides in that miserable little place called Forte, no missiles domination. Ladies and gentlemen, that is all of the DCL news that I can handle in 2 weeks. So excellent action out of the land crew, brilliant action coming out of Bronze, exciting at the top of Silver. We got these promotion challenges going. I'm loving it, folks.
And
that's all I got.
I would like to applaud Mark 39-2, of course, for sparing everyone at the LAN by not just completely destroying them in his home level of Wyndham.
I know that it took a lot of self-control to...
I don't know how he does it. I don't know how he does it. It's just crazy. So, I think Jedi's fallen off, but that's all right. And that's pretty much going to do it for the DCL. We do have the D3 ladder action, not a whole lot. Birdseye picking up 3 additional wins, bringing him up to a 1,600 elo ahead of Lady Silver. Bird Dog and Bahamut also picking up 1 win apiece. Lee is at the expense of those. He's sitting at 0-5 right now. So not a whole lot of D3L action, but there's been some games going on, and I'm waiting to get better to jump into that because I like D3 too. So, and of course, as we mentioned, highlight of the week, Swarthy's first silver Dark Horse, 23-21 overtime against P-Funk, and Swarthy's comment says it all. Quote, 50 minutes of pure sloth torture.
My condolences. I too suffer from slothitis, the painful inflammation of the sloth.
And that's definitely a worthy game of the week. I feel the demo is.
I mean,
online as well.
it started a lot of events rolling. It's not just the game itself. Just the match in itself. It's Swarthy's first win against P-Funk, right?
First silver win, period.
First silver win. So first Dark Horse.
Mm-hmm.
And that it kicked off everything in motion that it did. In terms of highlight of the week, this is the most impactful match. And I got to say that Swarthy's been putting on an absolute show in his promotion challenge.
And it's in Lurk against P-Funk. That's saying a lot. I can't beat him.
And it
I
was
can't
50
even
minutes.
I can't even get 12 on him in Lurk. I don't know how Swarthy got 23. Pretty awesome effort there by Swarthy. So I think that's
Worthy selection for match of the week. Yeah.
I think that's going to do it this week for the podcast.
Well, folks, if you have anything you'd like to say to us,
Domination.
if you would like to send us an email of domination, folks, if you have any questions, concerns, comments, or confessions, or you'd just like to make fun of all the times that I've said domination and mentioned my name in the same sentence on the wrong end of it, drop us an email at emails@selfdestructsequence.org. Be sure to note whether or not you wish to remain anonymous, whether or not we can make fun of you while we are on the air. Other contact info, you can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Twitch at SDS Podcast. You can find us on Twitter at SDS_activated or selfdestructsequence.org. And hey, if you've got a letter for Jimmy Russell's, go right ahead and drop it in.
Yes. And of course, I want to thank Jedi Luke for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
And as always, we're going to be attempting to do this weekly when we can. Of course, real life events will determine whether we can or not. They'll be Saturday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern, 2:30 p.m. Pacific. Check us out on iTunes, where we have our podcast, which is several weeks behind. We'll try to fix that up when I stop playing No Man's Sky. And give us a rating and review over there. It's the best thing you can do to help out the podcast. And of course, if you want to get back into the modern game of Descent, we have the information for you. It's at the Descent Champions letter at descentchampions.org/new_player.php. There you can find all the links, all the information that you need to get up and running in the modern game of Descent. Be sure to watch Facebook for our next stream. And until next time, I'm Runkley.
I'm Morphied.
And we'll see you then.